Movies, I like those, but there's so many of them. I'm up to my neck in movies. So let's pick something random from my Letterboxd watch list and review it. Today's video is going to be about Boom. I know nothing about this.
I will always speak to you, and I don't mind if you don't say anything.
Shout out to all my fellow homies out there with mommy issues. This one goes out to you. I really love this movie, but it's very different from everything else I've covered in this series so far. I want to make it very clear straight away that this is a slow-paced drama, because I think when I describe it, it's going to sound like a horror movie. Or maybe like an episode of Black Mirror, but it's really not that. I would call Womb Cronenbergian, however, as it uses disturbing sci-fi themes to explore the human condition. But with that being said, it's definitely not a body horror. Instead, it's a love story, a coming-of-age movie, and a taboo drama all wrapped up into one through its sci-fi hook. In part 1, we see a young couple fall in love. In part 2, one of them dies. In part 3, they're brought back from the dead. Sort of. But this isn't some old story about a mad scientist playing God. It's about not being able to let go, and about not allowing grief in when it comes knocking, and what that does to you as a person. Eva Green and Matt Smith have amazing chemistry here as main characters Rebecca and Tommy. Every smitten look between the two of them at the beginning of the film sets the rest of it up perfectly. Once Tommy passes away, Rebecca is completely lost. Even though they weren't a couple for very long, you buy it thanks to Eva Green's incredible performance. Before we continue, I should probably explain what makes this movie so uncomfortable. To clone someone in this film, a person needs to be impregnated with the DNA of the deceased loved one. After a talk with Tommy's parents, Rebecca decides to be the one to carry the baby. She also decides to raise the child in hopes of making this new version of Tommy exactly like the old one. But of course, the older Tommy gets, the more complicated and messy the whole situation becomes. While the movie gets uncomfortable at times, I would say that it's more sad than disturbing. Stylistically, that somber tone gets mashed with a color grading that could perhaps be compared to a millennial gray, but there are enough light blues thrown into the mix to make the film really pretty to look at. It's all probably stuff you've seen before, like literal walls separating characters after an argument, but it gets the job done. It's effective enough. I have a bit of a nitpick to bring up though. The story takes place over a very long time, and I wish there were more indications of that. I just think it's a little silly that Eva Green looks exactly the same in the beginning of the movie as she does at the end, when around 30 years is supposed to have passed. Usually I am pretty good at suspending my disbelief and ignoring things like this, so this could maybe be a thing where if there were more indications generally that time was passing, it wouldn't have been an issue for me. Maybe this was a budget constraint thing, I don't know. It just seemed a little off to me. Especially in a movie like this where they do make a lot of smart choices. For example, they don't really explain much about the cloning process. The film is at its best when it focuses on the relationship between Rebecca and Tommy, and it rarely loses sight of that. At certain points, they do start flirting with some very well-worn sci-fi themes, and those can feel a little heavy-handed. I understand why you would feel a need to include those things, though, especially in a story about cloning, but it really wasn't necessary. Overall, if you go into this movie with the knowledge that it's mainly a drama, I doubt you'll be disappointed. To say I had a good time with Womb would be the wrong choice of words, but I really did love it a lot. This is definitely my type of sci-fi, something that challenges you, but also tells a very human story. If you're into post-body horror David Cronenberg, I think you'll love Womb. It actually got me thinking of his latest film, The Shrouds, quite a bit. I think Womb is a lot better than that film, but there's some interesting overlap in themes between the two. I don't know, maybe it's just where I am right now, maybe it's the state of the world, but there's something about the idea of a character crumbling under the weight of mortality that's really speaking to me right now. The further I got along in that sentence, the more depressing it became. Thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. I'll be back with another one of these tomorrow, and remember kids, sometimes dead is better.